And hello, party people. Welcome back to another NRW review. That's right, another review for all our fans in internet land and beyond. I am David Estacado, and I'm here with my buddy from Another Nutty, probably on my left-hand side, the one and only Rob, the movie guy. And Rob, what do you have us reviewing today, man?
Oh,
really?
Come on, man. We've got a review here for you guys for the most anticipated remake of all time. And the original film will pale in comparison to this film here. We're going to be talking about the latest Michael film and Welcome to Sudden Death. Now, before we get into our thoughts on the film, our real thoughts, let's roll the trailer here real quick.
Let's go Falcons!
The arena's been taken over by hostiles.
It's like John McClane shit.
I'm gonna kill everybody if my demands aren't met.
The clock is ticking, and you can't stop it.
Every exit's rigged with explosives.
Demolition hand-to-hand expert. Kill him.
I have to find my daughter.
Chaos will reign supreme. This is game over.
And there you have it, a B-movie action flick that's campy yet fun. Sort of.
Sure.
The movie had its charm. Let's be honest. It was a fun movie to watch because it was kind of fun to kind of tear it apart, to be honest.
Yeah.
It had that very campy B movie. I'm surprised it was on Netflix and not direct to TV because that's what it felt like I was watching, like a Lifetime discount dollar store Die Hard.
You had a good point. Yeah, so let's share the plot here because as I mentioned before, this is actually a remake of a really good Jean-Claude Van Damme, a very underrated Jean-Claude Van Damme film, in Sudden Death. And this is basically literally a beat-for-beat story of the original film, where you have a group of terrorists breaking into an arena to hold hostage some people that have the access to funds that they need or that they're wanting because they feel like they're owed for that. And in the middle of all that, you have the one man, the everyday man, who is there to do his job and then protect his children, and now he's got to save the day. That's pretty much the plot right there.
That's the plot. That's perfectly short, sweet, and to the point. It just falls apart. It's just like cool plot, I guess, a rehash, but
let's start with the beginning here because we talked about this before we started recording here, and the first thing we get the introduction of is the character of Michael Jai White here, who is a war vet, who's a veteran, who was over in Afghanistan being held hostage for something, and
he's just being tortured.
Yeah, and he overcomes them, defeats them, and comes back home. And apparently he has PTSD, but you don't see that happen in the film. The thing is that I thought that particular intro would lead into something that would come back to him in this plot. So it would actually have direct involvement with him. And I thought,
my take on it, it looked like I was watching like an actor playing an actor. I literally was waiting for them to say cut, to have the director come in and like.
And the film failed miserably. Now he's a security guard.
Yeah, like it was cheesy. That's what I thought it was. Oh, he was like an action star, and now he's a security. That's like literally what I thought the plot was, but it was not. Which I thought would have been a funny homage to Jean-Claude Van Damme, because I seriously thought that was acting, but no. Once the scene kept going, I'm like, oh shit, no, they're serious. This actually happened. Yeah. Wow, this is really bad. Well, if this is how it starts, I can't wait for the rest of the film.
Yeah, well, and that's the part where things start to crumble there, because once you get past that intro, it doesn't get any better. I mean, you have some nice moments here and there, and you get the introduction of his two children, because like in the original film, Jean-Claude Van Damme has a son and daughter, but in that film, he and his wife are separated. She got remarried. In this film, him and Michael Jai White and his wife are still together. And they seem to be in a really good place.
And the girl who plays the daughter steals the show. She's a sassy little thing, and she's really
definitely sassy. But I wouldn't go as far as saying she stole the show. I mean, at that part, I'm going to have to disagree with you on. And right off the back,
let's be honest. I think the main person who really stole the show for most of the movie wasn't even Michael Jai White. It was Gus, the janitor guy.
Yeah, played by comedian Gary Owen. He was actually really funny. I heard that this movie was supposed to be taken a little more of a comedy turn to make it more of a comedy action, and they definitely do try to put that into the movie. Some things that I thought were meant to be funny were not that funny, and some things that I thought were that were not meant to be funny turn out to be pretty hilarious. You know, we can go on about how like the original film, they set up these bombs in all these different designated locations for the bomb to go off and blow up the entire arena once the villains collect their funds. And they do the exact same thing here too. How in the world Michael Jai White is able to find each bomb and disconnect it without a single problem? Because in the original film, John Clinton had to fight and had to take chances and had to talk to people. How do I disarm the bomb? And there was a lot more involvement with that, and you felt the tension with that because he's like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And Michael Jai was like, oh, there's a wire. Click, move on. Next one. I was like, what? That's it? So
and we kept going, and like the funny thing is the way they set it up is like the terrorists. Like who it was what he called himself Alpha.
Oh my
like,
god!
It was so cheesy, man. And Michael Uckland, come on, man. Like he was kind of funny as a role as playing the main antagonist, because he had such a serious tone with it. They even have I don't know if it was a joke or if it meant to be put in the line. He's like, no, that's just a cheesy villain movie line. I'm being serious. I'm like, yeah, okay, buddy. Which kind of got a giggle out of me.
Well, like, what did you think of the villain in the movie? Because I thought he sucked, but what did you think?
He didn't really seem more of a threat at all, like barely. It wasn't until like later in the movie where kind of okay, he's a formidable opponent during the fight scene, but that was it. I didn't see any tension. I didn't see nothing to kind of like get that. Oh, he's the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was waiting for his, his big moment. His like big villain monologue, which he somewhat does, but not to the effect of like, oh, he's serious. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Again, it was very comparison. Even the movie compares itself to freaking Die Hard, and he pairs the comparison.
That nice little tongue in cheek by Gus, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah. Besides that, man, like no, nothing really. It was pretty forgettable. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, so I want to ask you about something here too, because we talked about how the film pales in comparison to the original film. So with the original film, the villain in that movie, played by the late and great actor in Powers Booth, that guy, you felt the threat. Like he was, there are moments where he's just so charming, but you knew the threat was real, and he's not a very physical guy. He's an old man pretty much, well into his late 50s or 60s. And you can tell that he's pretty much and he has things in order.
Yeah, he's in control.
This guy, you know what he looked like? And I'm seriously not trying to be funny, but to me, he looked like a bank customer who wasn't able to cash his check. He got pissed off and came back with a gun and said, "Give me my fucking money." That's what he looked like to me. That's exactly what I felt like. This guy doesn't look like a threat. So, that's just
man. Yeah, and the rest of the cast was pretty much forgettable. Like his whole team was. I mean, the only other people that you remember is the one guy who apparently got away. Spoilers.
Yeah.
And that was it. Jesse, played by Michael Jai White, was all right. His action sequences were pretty fun to watch because they were very campy, very cheesy. They nowhere did it take seriously, because like it was just kind of like very old school. Well, not even old school, but like very not really flashy because they didn't take themselves too seriously either. Because there was some stuff that was like it just kind of sloppy, but it was like funny at the same time. Like the first couple of fight scenes, you kind of see him trying to improvise in the fights, which I thought was pretty fun and pretty funny to watch. Yeah, especially using the barbells. And then
that was pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah, and then him fighting his wife. His wife was actually in the movie, played one of the terrorists. It was kind of a weird little kind of.
It wasn't. I didn't think it wasn't edited very well when they were fighting because they were actually too well. They have a good background in athleticism and they know how to fight in real life as well too. But it didn't really show that in the film, which I thought was very disappointing because Michael Jai White, if you watch his film, he's a really good fighter in his own right. And his wife comes from a very athletic background who's been training with him for a number of years. So she definitely has the chops to pull. If you see some of her Instagram posts, and you can see a lot of the things that she's been doing in training for her everyday life. But I don't know, man. It just honestly the most believable fighter in that sequence there out of every Gus, because he was the first guy to admit, I can take her down, and got his ass whooped. And the only time he was actually confronted to do something about it was he would just admit, no, I'm not going to do it because I'm just not that guy. That was the most realistic thing in that entire sequence, because it shows a man who just knew he couldn't do it, and he said, fuck this, I'm not going to go do that anymore. So that was something I thought was very charming about that particular sequence because of him. Michael J. White.
Shout out to Gus, man, because like he really stole the movie. He really brought some comedic tone to the movie. It kind of helped with the kind of putting the movie together and helping out Jesse even throughout the film, which I thought was kind of a nice way to kind of bring him in and kind of continue him through the story. His comedic timing was great. Like his reaction, some of the stuff was going on was funny.
Giving the directions to down the hall and then keep going straight, make a left, and then go through that door and then make another right. You know, that I thought that was a nice little inside gag for them. But
besides that, I mean, that's the only real positive thing to say about the movie. The rest, I mean, the movie kind of falls apart. The plot line is pretty simple enough, but even then it wasn't very carried or executed very well. Granted, I think that's what they were going for. Hopefully, like very B-movie Saturday afternoon kind of, action flick, where it was just kind of more fun to kind of rip it apart and romp at it. And like, do they really go through that? Really? I kind of see myself as this being kind of one of those Michael J. drinking games. Like,
yeah, and another thing too is that like the original film and this film, you have two very high-powered political figures in the movie. In this film, you have a governor, and in the other film, I think it was a vice president. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what happened to their security, but for whatever reason, he's in this one booth where he's where you can see the entire floor of the arena, and there's only one guard out there. I was like, come on! In real life, it would never happen. You would have 5-6 guards or Secret Service inside that room with them, and then you would probably have an additional 5 or 6, 7 out there waiting, in their proper positions to protect the governor here. And you just had one guy who was literally a security guard for the arena. That really took me out of the film, and then he got killed too. And I was like, wow, that's just perfect. It was just perfect. A perfect scenario for the villain. But yeah, man, I thought that this movie would be I knew it wasn't going to be as good as the original. I just knew that it couldn't pull it off because of the low budget that it was going to have. But I was hoping that it would do something different, that within the confines of the budget, that they would do something that would be much more intimate. And they definitely try to go for on a bigger scale, as closest to the original as possible. And they literally followed a beat for beat type of story, with some minor changes, obviously, with the added element of the buddy comedy aspect to it. I mean, even the kids, and the kids did fine. I'm not saying they were terrible, but the emotional impact that you have for the kids in the original film, like, you felt for the kids, you felt for the brother and sister.
You don't really feel that here. Like,
I didn't feel that at all.
It's kind of very distant with the son, because his son was being kind of, hormonal, regular teenager. It seemed like he was more attached to his daughter than anything, which they even kind of put in the film. Like, it just kind of, it just kind of fell flat for me.
Yeah, and that's. I was gonna say that they when you see the brother and sister fight with one another here too, you don't really feel that that real tension built up between them like in the original film. This film, it's just like a standard one, brother and sister. They don't like each other, and that's just how siblings are. It kind of felt like a bit of forced scenario, which I didn't appreciate in the movie. I wish they went for a different direction, given how do something different. You might as well. You're pretty much changing everything else with the exception of the plot and some characters, but you couldn't change that. I think would have worked a little bit better in their favor, but that's just me, of course. But
that's it, man. That's all we got to say, man. If you're, what I'm gonna say, honestly, my final thoughts. I'm just gonna go throw straight to it. If you're a fan of Michael J. White, if you like action movies, if you like that B movie action flick, go ahead and watch it. Watch it. You'll enjoy it because of how cheesy and campy, how like it's so bad, it's somewhat good. Yeah. Go ahead and take a shot at it. If not, I would suggest just watch something else that's on Netflix if you're not really into it, because at this point, it was just kind of a movie for me.
Yeah, it's not a very good. This is really not one of his best. He's done a lot worse. Believe me, he's done a lot worse. But I was hoping this would be one of like the more better side of his filmography here. Like, he's got films like Falcon Rising, which I thought was phenomenal. Hard Way, I thought was pretty good. And then you got this movie, I thought would be in the same stratosphere of action film, and
Nah, not even close.
pales in comparison. So, and it's unfortunate.
So what's your final thoughts, Rob? What do you give it?
I would say that this film is worth a shot because there's something you can take from it. Like you had said before, it's so bad it's good. You can definitely poke fun at it and laugh at some of the things, but it's Michael Jai White. I'm not even sure what he thinks of the final product. And he's a pretty honest guy when it comes to that. But for me personally, if I'm going to watch the film, I would rather watch with a group of friends, have a few shots, and have a ball with it at that point there.
Same.
So that's just my perspective.
That's how you should watch the movie, by the way. If you're going to watch it like that. All right then. Well, that's it for this review. Yeah. What do you guys think? Have you guys seen the movie? Are you going to watch the movie? Let us know in the comments below. Are you a Michael Jai White fan? Do you think this was his worst movie, or do you think he has any worse ones? Let us know, and let us know what else you want us to get into, because we get into everything here at NRW. Rob, where else can they follow us, and what else can they get into? Well,
you can follow us here on our social media accounts. You can follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. Simply just Rob. I meant to say New Release Wednesday. Sorry. And on Twitter at the NRW. Now you can follow myself on my social media accounts on Instagram, Rob_Medina0585, and on Twitter, RobMedina0585, and on Facebook, simply just Rob the Movie Guy. And my buddy from Another Nutty on the right-hand side. Where can they follow you, sir?
Well, you can follow me on my social media on Instagram and on Twitter on David is Disaster, and you can follow me on my personal on David A. Estacado. We'll talk about everything else pop culture, some indie wrestling stuff, and anything else I got going on. Plus merchandise, lots and lots of merchandise. So we'll be coming your way soon. That being said, guys, if you like what we're doing here on the channel, please, like Rob said earlier, give us a like, share, and subscribe. We're trying to pump our numbers up to 1,000 by the end of the year. We can't do it without you guys. Yeah. And we do appreciate you guys for seeing those follows. We do see those.
Thank you, everybody.
Everything coming up. Thank you so much for that. But if you like what me and Rob do here, please check out what the rest of the crew is doing. We have Patrick Michael Strange, every guys from the Nerds of Color as a collaboration, putting up videos on the daily now, and lots of stuff coming down the pipeline. So if you like what we got going on, please check out the other videos here. I think right now Patrick and his boy are either on episode 2 or 3 on Raised by Wolves. If I'm not wrong, but me and Rob got other stuff down the pipeline as well coming on your way. It is now officially spoopy season. If this video has not come out before or after the last video, but me and Rob will be getting into, and Patrick and some other surprise guests are going to get involved into some scarier, spoopier movies because of the spoopy season. Rob, anything else to add?
Well, as David has already said, we definitely got some more work coming along the way, and we have some really exciting projects that we're all getting into here that we're not going to be announcing yet at this time, but keep an eye out for that sort of stuff. We'll making some announcements real soon down the line, and we're really hoping that you guys are going to get a kick out of it, because the things we have lined up here are something that we're really looking forward to and actually getting done and actually showing to you all out there. So hopefully you guys will get a kick out of it as much as we've made and having this done for you guys to enjoy it here. But otherwise, that is. So like we said before, we thank you very much for watching our videos here, and hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure you share and subscribe, share and like our videos here. And while you're doing that, spread the good word that is All Things New Release Wednesdays here. And until next time, everybody, you stay safe out there. And cheers.
Cheers.
Don't waste your time.